welcome to Your Favourite Teacher. Today's video will be exploring the minor characters in Romeo and Juliet. In particular, we'll be focusing on Paris, the prince, the nurse and Friar Lawrence. All of these people have key roles in the events of the play. You're unlikely to get a question on one of them individually, but you might want to include them in your responses about other characters or themes. Let's start with Paris. Him wanting to marry Juliet sparks the initial resistance against her parents' wishes. He is a rich and influential nobleman, which would have pleased the Capulets as it would further elevate their status in society. Shakespeare presents him as respectful towards others, describing him as a gallant, young and noble gentleman. Shakespeare's imagery presents him as a good match for Juliet. When he is dying in Act 5, Scene 3, he says to Romeo, "If you are merciful, open the tomb and lay me next to Juliet." His words here suggest that his love for Juliet was sincere. Next we have the prince. He acts as the police chief, judge and jury. Ruling Verona, he is first on the scene when the fights occur. He demands that they throw mistempered weapons to the ground when he breaks up the fight between the two households in Act 1, Scene 1. His authority in the play is well respected, and his decision in terms of punishments aren't argued. His main role is to have the overruling authority over the Capulets and Montagues. He often speaks in poetry, which Shakespeare does deliberately to emphasise his power over the other characters. Now, let's discuss the nurse. Did you know that she looked after Juliet from a baby? She even did the breastfeeding, stating, "Thou wast the prettiest babe that e'er I nursed." This is vital. If she was able to breastfeed, she would have already had her own baby to look after. But if she spent all of her time nursing Juliet, it meant that she sacrificed the health of her own child to look after Juliet. What a woman! Seeing as she made the ultimate sacrifice, it's understandable that Shakespeare creates such a close bond between the nurse and Juliet. She uses pet names for her such as Lamb and Ladybird, innocent animalistic imagery which strengthens the bond between the two women. When the nurse finds Juliet and thinks she's dead, she seems more upset than any other character. Never was seen so black a day as this. Finally, let's take a look at Friar Lawrence. Like the nurse's role with Juliet, Friar Lawrence plays a father figure towards Romeo, although he gives both Romeo and Juliet advice at different parts of the play. Because of this, he is well respected. "Oh Lord, I could have stayed here all night to hear the good counsel." Unlike Romeo and Juliet, Friar Lawrence thinks things through. He's shocked by Romeo's quick change of interest from Rosaline to Juliet, but realises that Romeo and Juliet's marriage may so happy prove and end the feud between the Capulets and the Montagues. However, his actions are still questionable. His agreement to the marriage of two teens only seems to be to stop the feud between the two families. This can make the audience suspicious. Is he just doing this to get more power and respect as the famous friar who ended the feud? After all, he does warn, "These violent deaths have violent ends." Shakespeare has repeated the adjective violent, foreshadowing the violence to happen later in the play. But he still marries the young couple anyway. He's also cowardly because he abandons Juliet in the tomb when he realises that Romeo has killed himself. Was he just trying to save himself? Here you might want to offer an alternative interpretation because, as always, they strengthen your response. So try and have a look at both sides of this character to gain higher marks. That's it for now, but stay with us for more on Romeo and Juliet. I'm Miss Meeks, thanks for watching.